Hello and welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe to see more interesting videos on our channel. And if you've been here before, well, welcome back to the channel. Since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began early this year, there has been no shortage of ideas and proposals put forward for how the United States should respond. Unfortunately, while many of these ideas are well-intentioned, too often their potential secondary or indirect consequences are not fully explored. We've seen continued widespread calls to implement a no-fly zone over Ukraine. For several weeks, the call to close the sky over Ukraine was repeated in every corner of the press and social media. However, it was clear that many people advocating this idea did not stop to think about what such a plan could actually involve. A no-fly zone doesn't mean aircraft wouldn't have the ability to fly over Ukraine. Rather, it just declares consequences if aircraft do fly over Ukraine. This would require enforcement, meaning American aircraft and pilots flying into harm's way, and could realistically end in death and the war escalating into a wider conflict. Enforcing a no-fly zone would mean Russian and American fighter jets would have to clash, all but guaranteeing wider war. But what if Russia and the United States had to fight each other directly? The chances of this happening are very low. However, if Russia attacks a NATO country, then it becomes inevitable. What would happen if Russia retaliated against or preemptively attacked bases in NATO countries? Even if American forces were somehow not attacked, the member state struck would swiftly invoke the Article 5 of the NATO Charter, which considers an attack on one member as an attack on all. Technically, Congress would have to declare war if Article 5 was invoked, but whether Congress voted on it or not, the US and its tens of thousands of troops in Europe would almost inevitably become embroiled in a war with Russia if the article was invoked. This war would be truly uncharted waters in multiple ways. The US hasn't had to directly fight a great power since the end of World War II. Combat with Iraq, Libya or Afghanistan isn't comparable in any sense to what combats with Russia would be like. We shouldn't mistake Russia's poor performance in Ukraine for its inability to quickly impose serious casualties on US forces. Our troops would be fighting without reliable air superiority and experience vulnerabilities they haven't faced in generations. The casualty figures already coming out of Ukraine suggest that US casualties would dwarf those America has experienced during its 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, even if we're winning on the ground. The entire makeup of the US military would likely have to change too. Current forces are all volunteer and have been since the 1970s, but a full-scale war in Europe would likely require many more troops. Reinstituting the draft could prove necessary, and that could include drafting men and women to fill the ranks. And while the wars in Afghanistan and the Middle East have left daily life largely uninterrupted here at home, a war with Russia would be a different story. Large wars eat up vast amounts of resources, and every tank, shell, and missile that is manufactured is created at the expense of some other want or need in the economy. A full-on war would require major disruptions in the economy, which is already reeling under inflation and supply chain pressures. The US would also have to shift its focus and resources away from the rising threat of China, which would put American strategy in the Pacific in a precarious position. If the war escalated into a nuclear war, it is certain to kill millions and leave millions of other people in starvation. With these what-ifs in mind, what are you willing to see happen? Are you willing to see US men and women die overseas? Are you willing to see your family and friends drafted? Are you willing to accept the risks and consequences? That's the end of the video, and if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe to see more interesting videos on our channel. And until next time, peace.